Yeah, make me. Yes. So let us start the session. Hope you all are doing good. Hope you all can see my screen clearly. So let us start the session. Okay. So if you remember, yesterday we had discussed about what is actually the need of cloud platforms and what is a cloud computing services and how it is different from the on-premises working model. And after that, we have seen how Google Cloud, what is Google Cloud Platform, and what are the services that the Google Cloud Platform is providing you, and why we need to learn the Google Cloud Platform. All of those things as a basic thing we have learned. From today onwards, it's going to be a real-time things. For example, if I wanted to work with a Google Cloud Platform, what are the services that, what are the interacting methods that are there in the Google, so that we can able to interact with the GCP services easily. So for that one, we are going to start with how to interact with the GCP concept from today onwards. Okay, it's going to take like 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And in this one, I'm going to tell you what are the interacting methods are there. Okay, so let me start. So we now already know that Google is providing you uh, a service portfolio where you have compute services, IAM services, networking services, big data services, storage in database services, and machine learning services. So Google is providing you this many services for us to, or for organizations to build and deploy their applications in the Google's infrastructure. Okay, for that, if I wanted to deploy, or if I wanted to develop an application, or if I wanted to process some data, or if I wanted to store some data, what are the methods that I can able to interact with the GCP services? Okay, for that one, if you think that this is a Google Cloud Platform, you can able to interact with the Google Cloud Platform, the Cloud Console. You can also interact from the Google with the help of the Cloud Shell. You can also interact via SDKs or client libraries and web applications or web apps. So these are these many ways you can able to interact with the Google Cloud Platform. So let us try to understand what is actually these things. So console, for example, console is nothing but a web user interface, web UI. So visually, if you wanted to interact with the Google Cloud Platform, so you have a console. Sir, in a Google Cloud Platform, I wanted to store some data. I have some 100 GB data. So that service is Google Cloud Storage. I wanted to store some data there. So how I can able to do it, sir? You can use console. That is a web user interface tool. Visually, you can directly go to that particular service. That means with the manual clicks and visual interface, you can able to click on it and you will go to that service. You will create a bucket and you visually you are doing all the things here. Okay, so that is what is nothing but a console. What about the Cloud Shell, sir? A Cloud Shell is that it is a web command line interface. Web command line interface. What is a Cloud Shell, sir? Cloud Shell is a web command line interface. Sir, I wanted to interact with the GCP services via command. Then you can able to go to the Cloud Shell. Okay, Cloud Shell is a command line interface where you will be able to interact with the Google Cloud services via commands. So that is what is a Cloud Shell. Okay, and you have a API calls or client libraries. Sir, each and every service in the Google Cloud platform is can be interacted via API. Okay, so you can also connect it to some application via API. From there also you can able to interact. Or sir, each and every service in the GCP will also, I mean, you have a client libraries, right? For example, sir, I wanted to interact via Python. or Java or Node.js or some other language. So if you wanted to interact with these client libraries to the GCP services, you can also do that via Cloud SDK. Okay, you can also do it via Cloud SDK. SDK is nothing but it is also one of the command line interface only, and it is called as a software development kit. Software development kit. So via API calls or client libraries, you can also interact with the GCP services easily. Okay, and final thing is that web application. Sir, I have an application running. Assume that I have an application running. That application backend I wanted to store it in a Google Cloud Platform, GCP. Okay, so you can able to connect that application to the GCP is one of the service. So that service will be interacting with this application for storing some data or for interacting with web content provider. So something like that you can able to do it. So these are the four interacting methods that are there in the Google Cloud Platform that you can able to interact according to your requirement, according to the project requirement, according to the choice of yours, or according to the project requirement. You will be able to easily select one of these options and interact with any of these things. For example, when I say a console, the Cloud Console is a web-based user interface provided by the Google Cloud Platform. It allows you to make and configure GCP resources visually. Okay, whenever you wanted to interact with the GCP resources visually, you have a Cloud Console, whether it is a web-based user interface provided by the Google Cloud Platform. Okay, and you can also access the Cloud Console using a web browser and performs tasks such as creating a virtual machine, managing the storage, configuring the network, or monitoring your resource. Let me show you where is this Cloud Console is. Okay, sir, if you go to your browser, just enter console.cloud.google.com. Okay, console.cloud.google.com. So as soon as you enter, this is our Google Cloud Platform homepage. Okay, so this is our Google Cloud Platform homepage or console, also people call it as. This is a console, Google Cloud Console. So in this one, you can able to see here we have a left navigation menu. Okay, whatever I am doing, it is a visual only. That is the reason it is called as a console, sir. So it is hosted on the web browser, and you will be able to see. For example, if I wanted to create a bucket, I will click on this one, and I will create a bucket like this. Click on create, so bucket will be able to create it. That means visually I can able to create bucket and store some data. Or I wanted to create some virtual machine. Okay, visually I can come here and click on create instance, and I will provide the configuration for that particular instance. Okay, visually I will provide the configuration for that particular instance, like for example the instance name, the region, the row zone, the series. So something like that I will provide it, and finally I will click on create, so that the virtual machine will be created. Okay, so this is what is a console, sir. Okay, a console is a, you have just seen, a console is a web user interface provided by the Google. It allows you to manage and configure your GCP resources visually. And with the help of the console, you can able to do any task that is there to interact with the GCP resources. Okay, so that is what is a console, sir. Next one is Cloud Shell, and which is very similar to the console, but the only the interface method is different. Here you are interacting via visually. Here you are going to interact with the GCP resources via command line interface. You can able to see here. Cloud Shell is an interactive browser-based shell environment available in the Cloud Console. It is a what environment, sir? It is a browser-based shell environment. And Cloud Shell also provides you 5 GB of persistent storage disk for your files and supports popular programming languages and tools. Okay, sir, what is a cloud shell, sir? It is a browser-based shell environment where you will be able to interact with GCP resources. How you can able to interact visually? The similar way you can able to interact with the GCP resources via commands or via shell environment. You can able to do it. So let us try to see that as well. Let me go here. Sir, this is also mentioned as browser based, but where I can see that cloud shell options. For example, if you come here, you have all the services provided here. So whatever the Google Cloud Platform providing you, all of those services are listed out here in this left navigation menu or hamburger menu. And you here you will be able to see if you wanted to interact with any of the service in the GCP, we must select a project or we must create a one project. Either we create a new project or we select an existing project. Okay, and after that, sir, I don't want it to select the services from here. You can also select the services from the search box. And after that, you have here one option that is activate cloud shell. This is our cloud shell, sir. You have here option activate cloud shell. When you click on activate cloud shell, a cloud shell will be activated at the bottom you see here. Okay, so this is a cloud shell. So in cloud shell, you have two things. In cloud shell, if you think that this is cloud shell, you have two things. One is terminal, one more is IDE or editor. Okay, let us see do both of these things. So as soon as you select on this activate cloud shell button, this is how the page opens. Sir, whenever you are interacting with the GCP services visually, as I told you, you select a project, right? Likewise, whenever you wanted to interact with the GCP services via commands also, via cloud shell also, you select the project ID properly. You see here, by default, one project is selected. You see here demo DevOps. So the project ID is this one. Same, right? Thermal Micron. Okay. So the project ID will be the same. So you have to select, sir, I don't want it to work with this project. Here, what you will do, you click on this project here. But in the Cloud Shell, what you have to do? You have to select that project ID. And you see here, there's a command, gcloud config set project hyphen project ID. If you wanted to change your project ID, gcloud config set project. Authorize it. You see here. So if you wanted to work with any of the projects from the Cloud Shell also, you will be able to select that project properly. Okay, how you are selecting visually from the console, you will also be able to select the same thing here. So this is how it is. Sir, earlier I wanted to create a bucket. So if you wanted to create a bucket also, gsutil, the commands all the commands are already listed there, guys. We will be seeing in our upcoming sessions while we are covering about Linux commands and all of those things. There you will be able to understand all of these commands, but for now you do not have to worry about it. So for example, gsutil is to create a bucket inside the Google Cloud Storage. Earlier we have created a bucket, right? So this is what it is, gsutil mb. MB is to make bucket. So you will mention the bucket name here, some bucket name. The bucket name I wanted to is that, so some random bucket name. This is my bucket name. So this is how, if you wanted to interact visually, it's your choice. If you wanted to interact via Cloud Shell, that is your choice. So any which ways, whatever you do, it's the same thing that you are, at the end of the day, you are interacting with the GCP services via visual or via command line tool. So that is what is nothing but a interacting method. Okay, so one more advantage with the Cloud Shell is that it comes up with a 5 GB storage, and it supports all the languages. For example, if you think that you wanted to work with Python, so Python is already installed. If you wanted to work with Java, Java is also installed. Or if you wanted to work with the Docker, okay, Docker is also installed. If you wanted to work with Terraform, so Terraform. So by default, Cloud Shell comes up with all the pre-libraries, client library support, so that you need not to manually install it. Python, Java, Docker, Terraform. Tomorrow it is Node.js. Day after tomorrow it is R, SQL. All of those things are by default. It comes up with the pre-installed guys. So you need not to manually install anything. Okay, that's the advantage of the Cloud Shell. Okay, so that is the best thing about the Cloud Shell is that you can able to run some Python commands, Java commands, Docker, Terraform for infrastructure provisioning. So everything you can able to do it from the Cloud Shell. Okay, so this is actually called as a terminal. Okay, as I was telling you, Cloud Shell comes up with the two things. One is terminal, one more is cloud editor, right? So whatever the thing that we have opened is a terminal. So this is your terminal. You will also be able to see here. Okay, Cloud Shell terminal. Sir, various editors are, if you can able to see here, any number of tabs if you wanted to open for terminal, you can able to open it, sir. It's your choice. Okay, and one more thing is that if you come here, right here, you will be able to see some option called Open Editor. When you click on Open Editor, the terminal will be gone and you will be able to open the editor. Now you see here, Cloud Shell Editor opened. So it will also take 1 minute and it will open. Okay, so this is how by default, whenever you see, I have some kind of a data here already. So some kind of a repo 1, repo 2. So that's the reason it was showing in the editor. It was showing repo 1, repo 2, this one. Okay, so if you wanted to work with the editor also fine. So why we need editor? It is like your IDE. Okay, in development environment. Okay, so what you can do here, sir, if you wanted to create any file, for example, sir, you can able to create some file, some text file if you wanted to create it, data.txt. Okay, and you can able to mention that data for that one. For example, id, name, salary. So id is equals to 1, John, and 10,000. Okay, this way you can also able to create a file. If you save it, and we have saved one file, right, and you go to the terminal, and if you list it out, we'll be able to somewhere data.txt we have created. Okay, so either you can able to work with the terminal or you can able to work with the open editor. Okay, editor also is available, terminal also is available. Editor is like your IDE, so it is like your development environment. Whenever you wanted to write your large codes, you can able to actually go to the editor and write your codes, and it is a interactive method where you can able to write your code visually easily. And here it is a terminal. Here also you can write your code. It's not that, sir, I can't write. For example, data.txt is there. I wanted to change something inside the data.txt. For example, in such also Nano is one of the editor and Vim is also one of the editor is there. So you can use that Nano. We will be learning all of these things, sir. I am just giving you a glance how we are going to learn all of those things. So it is like this one. So data Nano, repo 1, and data.txt. See here, earlier we have written this one, right? So you can able to add one more record. Okay, so this way you will be able to add the data like this. It is saved now. If you wanted to see the data here itself, you will be able to see. You will be able to see here. Okay, so this is how, if you wanted to, anything can be done in the Cloud Shell, sir. You interact with it, you copy some file from this one to that one. You wanted to move the data 1 minute, guys. So you wanted to interact with any of the GCP services, you will be able to do it. And if you wanted to create some files, if you wanted to write some code, you have a editor here, and everything is here. You wanted to install something, you can able to do it. So some kind of a, you wanted to zip some file and zip some file, everything can be done here, sir. Need not to go to any other platform. That's what I was telling you, that Google Cloud Platform provides you all the package of applications or services, so that you can able to do create an application, work with the data, and create some other build some other applications for your data management, data processing, pipelines. All of those things you can able to do it here in the Google Cloud Platform itself. Okay, so this is what is a Cloud Shell. So as we were saying, Cloud Console is a web-based user interface, and Cloud Shell is a browser-based shell environment. Okay, I think that is clear. So we have totally 4 interactive methods, and in our upcoming sessions, we will also see how we can able to install the SDK. SDK will be offline, so we can able to install this SDK. In our upcoming sessions, I will tell you how we can able to install the SDK. In our upcoming sessions, when we are creating some kind of a small application, there we will be able to see how we can able to interact with the GCP services. So these things are not for us. So mainly as a developer, we will be focusing on console and shell and SDK. These are the 3 things. Okay, so these 3 things we will be learning whenever we wanted to interact with the GCP services. Okay, yeah. So these are the interacting methods are available in the GCP to interact with the GCP services. So there is a note. These are the some common ways to interact with the GCP. The choice of method depends on your preferences, requirements, and the type of interaction you wanted to have with the GCP resources. Whether it's through a user interface or command line interface, APIs, or integration with the third-party tools or applications. So as he was saying, as I already told you, so the choice of interaction or the choice of method you wanted to interact with the GCP is purely depends on your project requirement or the preferences or the type of interaction that you wanted to have it with the GCP services, whether it is a command line interface or whether it is a user interface. So according to your project requirement or the interaction you wanted to have with the GCP services. So that is how it is. But mostly I can tell you that console for some application or for some services, console is used a lot. For some services, command line tool is used a lot. Okay. Yeah. So as I was showing you, so for example, console walkthrough is the same thing. Just I was telling you these things only. So you have here left navigation menu. So all the services are listed out here. So you can able to click on more products. You will be able to see compute options, serverless options, storage options, database options, integration services. So all of those things, as I was telling you, GCP provides you the plenty of the services for networking, big data, database and storage models, serverless applications, compute options. All of these services are listed out here, guys. You can able to just say more than 200 services are already available here. Okay. And creating a project is very much important for us. Let me gonna tell you how to create a project now. So whenever you wanted to interact with the GCP services, the very first important step is that the project, because that's where the billing is enabled, that's where the tracking of each usage of service will be enabled. Okay, so what I was telling is that, so whenever you wanted to work with any of the service in the GCP, okay, you wanted to work with the GCP, work with any service, or someone has to track your usage, right? For tracking your track usage, enabling the billing enabling, sir. and API enabling the APIs, because we can't enable the API without enabling the billing. Okay, and for the other some other activities also. Okay, for some other activities are also there, we will be seeing in our upcoming session. So if you wanted to do any of these things, you must create a project or you must select the existing project. Okay, activities like IAM, access provider, access control, all of those things, many things will be there. We will be learning each and everything. So this is going to be each and everything is now connected to your project only. So if you wanted to work with any of the service, you must select a project. Either you select a project or you create a new project. If you wanted to track the usage, or if you wanted to see the billing or enable the billing or enable the APIs activities such as IAM, access control, all of those things are done via project only. So let us try to see how we can create a project. But how to create a project, let us try to see. Very simple, just 2 minutes it will take. Okay, so here you see, either I can select an existing project. For this entire batch, we're going to be working with one of the projects. So I'm going to click on this new project. So we will work everything in this project only. Okay, whatever the activities that we are going to do in our upcoming sessions, we are going to do in this project name. So I'm going to provide the project name is batch. Okay, let me say data batch. So batch data. Okay, it's like this. You can give any name, that's fine. Okay, so this is our batch name, sir. I have given GCP batch PDE. And if you wanted to change the project name later also, you can able to change it. So you have actually 3 parameters while you are creating a project, guys. I'm going to give you this heads up because this was one of the question in the AS exam. So whenever you are creating a project, right? Whenever you are creating a project, you have project name. Okay, you have project name. And you have project ID. You have project number. So you have 3 things. Whenever you create your project, you have actually 3 things. Project name, user choice. Project name is a user choice. Project ID can also be a user choice, but can be able to change later or not. Okay, so project name can be able to change later, but project ID we cannot change later. Okay, so what is a project name, sir? A project name is a user choice, but can be able to change later or can be able to keep it like that also. Project ID, it's a user choice, but you cannot be able to change it later. Once the project is created, the project ID cannot be able to change it. One more final thing, that is project number. You cannot be able to change it, you cannot be able to assign it, and you cannot be able to change it. By default, it will be assigned by whom, sir? It will be assigned by Google. Okay, it's not a user choice, it's a Google's choice. Okay, so these are the 3 things that we have. Let us try to see now. So I have given my project name, and you can see here project ID. Click on edit option, so you can able to edit your project ID. So I wanted to have the project ID like GCP batch. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to have. This is not available, so let us try to provide morning. Okay, so this is how I'll be providing, sir. Okay, project ID. So this is also my choice and this is also my choice. But this project name I can able to change it later. But this project ID you cannot be able to change it later. You don't see the project number at all because project number is auto assigned by the Google and it is not it cannot be changed later. So once I create a project, you will be able to see. Okay, GCP, I will say here morning, morning. I'll just say GCP morning. Later I will show you how we can able to change it. Okay, GCP morning and GCP batch morning, and here click on create. You see here one of the project is getting created. You see at the notification section, and you can see here that the project is created. You click on this product section. Somewhere the GCP morning is came and the project ID is here. Let me click on this thing. Let me click on this thing. Do you guys notice here that you are working on this project name? The number is this one and the project ID is this one. Do you guys notice this thing? And you see here, it was auto assigned by the Google. You cannot change it at any point. You cannot change it. You cannot just touch it also. Okay. And project ID also, this is your choice only. You have given it, but you cannot change it. Okay. You can able to see it here like this. So project name, your choice, and you can change it later. How I can able to change it, sir? For example, you click on here. You can see in the select a project section, you have all the project listed out here. You click on this settings button. When you click on this settings button, you see here GCP morning. Right away, come here, come here, come here. On the last, at the end, you have three dots, right? Click on that one. Click on settings. Right, you can see here GCP morning. If you wanted to change it, just mention batch, GCP morning batch, and save it. That's it. It is changed properly. You see here GCP morning batch, automatically it is changed. So this way you can able to create your project ID project using three things. One is project ID, sorry, one is project name, project ID, project number. Project name is a user choice and can be changed later. Project ID is user choice, cannot be able to change it later. Project number is, it's a Google choice and auto assigned properly. It's not a, it cannot be changed. Okay, so that is what it is. Okay, hope you got now how we can able to create a project. Okay, so once we have created a project, we have a one more concept. So this is where we have seen the console walkthrough, the left navigation menu, how it works, the project section, how we can able to create a new project, and how we have enabled the cloud shell, and how we can able to interact with the services also we have seen. So this is a console walkthrough. We have learned these things. Some other activities also we have performed. Now we are going to the one more concept, that is GCP locations. Okay, GCP locations. If anyone have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will go to the GCP locations concept, and which is also very important section. No, you will be understanding what is a bucket in our upcoming session. A bucket is nothing but a container, nothing but a folder, nothing but a container to store your objects. What is that, sir? For example, sir, I have a some CSV file, some sales.csv file is there. I wanted to store in the Google Cloud platform. For that one, what I will do, I will go to the Google Cloud Storage. I will create a bucket. A bucket is to, it is a container to contain something. It is a container. The container name we are going to give. That container is nothing but a bucket. And inside that, you're going to keep your sales.csv. That is your file. Okay, so that is what it is. So it is like this. Okay, it's a container. You keep your file here. That's how it is. Okay, this name is the bucket name. This is your bucket and this is your file. Okay, and all of these things are available where, sir? GCP. And if you wanted to do such things, you selected GCP project. Okay, it is a one of the service in the GCP. This is a Google Cloud Storage, one of the service in the GCP. Likewise, in the GCP, you have a plenty of services. Each service have its own name, nomenclature, and all of those things. Okay, so that we will be learning. Don't worry. Yeah. Anyone have any other questions?
What are the different use cases using console actually?
So there are plenty of activities that we will be doing via console. For example, uh, sir, I wanted to, we have seen just now, right? If I wanted to create a virtual machine, you can able to do it. Most commonly used thing, BigQuery console. Sir, as a data engineer, I wanted to do the processing using the SQL. So you will go to the BigQuery and you will write your SQL queries, and everything is in the console only you are going to perform. So one of that major use case is for the console is BigQuery. So this is your BigQuery, and here you will be having your tables. I have not. This is our first time we have created the data project, right? So we do not have any data sets or tables. But you see here. So this is your interactive environment where this BigQuery comes up with a built-in query engine which is capable of running SQL queries and which is very, very, very fast compared to the Hive or Redshift or Synapse Analytics, whatever you name it. It's very fast compared to all other clouds, and and the on-premises tools such as Hive also. You can able to write your query here. Select, for example, I wanted to select my name. Okay, so you can select your name and run your query. So automatically that will be printed. You see here. So this is a console, very commonly used this. Okay, and this thing can be also be performed. Sir, I wanted to create some table. Create table. You will be able, you already know some kind of ASQL, right? You can able to create your table. Sir, I wanted to create the same table from the Cloud Shell. Of course, you can able to create it. Okay, but console gives you a very good visual interface that you can able to create your table. On the left side you will be able to see whether the table is created or not, and you wanted to save that query, all of these options, schedule it, and you wanted to format your query, and you will be able to see the data in the form of a JSON or in the form of the table, or you wanted to see every information is here. Okay, so we will be learning all of these things. While you are learning each and every service, you will be coming up to a one conclusion that so this service is very useful via console and it can be easily interacted, and you think that one some of the services will be done via cloud shell, which is a very efficient way of doing it, because via code, doing something via code is repetitive work will be reduced and usability will be very high. Reusability of the code will be very high compared to the visual interface. So some of the service we will be go via visual only, some of the service we will go via cloud shell only. So that thing we will be learning in our upcoming sessions. That conclusion you will come to know. Okay. Yes. Any other questions, guys? Of course, yes. Nano, which is used in the Cloud Shell, can we say it's kind of a VI editor? Of course, yes. It is a editor only. I was telling you, right? So instead of going to the Cloud Shell editor, writing your code in whether it is a Python code or whatever, instead of writing it, you can use Nano editor or you can use Vim editor. VIM editor is also there. Okay, you can use any of those things in the Cloud Shell to create your code. Okay, both are editors only. Yes. I think this is it for the chart. Yeah. Okay, what I will do now. So I'm going to give you some heads up towards what is GCP locations, and we will stop the session here for today. So what is GCP locations? Why it is very important? Let us try to understand what is the terminology, what are the important concepts here. So let us try to start. So GCP locations, very important. But let us think about the Google Cloud Platform perspective. Don't think now, just be like a GCP Google Cloud Platform developer, not like a developer that you are working in your organization. So think that you are one of the guy in the GCP, okay, who developed a Google Cloud Platform. So now see here, sir, I have GCP will be used in some countries like India. GCP will be used in UK. GCP will be used in USA. GCP will also be used in some other Europe countries. Okay, Europe. So plenty of places we will be able to use GCP, right? Now tell me how GCP operates. We now know that it's a cloud, okay? But it is a cloud, sir. Fine. but we are using the GCP resources. See, for example, assume that if I wanted to work with any of the service, I'll go to my local machine and I will install manually Python software in my local machine. And after that, what I will do, I will run some application. Okay, I need some physical application here, which is a resource for me, which is a infrastructure for me. Okay, likewise, you are the guy from India, you are trying to interact with the cloud and you are trying to run some application. But where is the infrastructure for the Google Cloud Platform? So Google Cloud's platform infrastructure is properly divided. Whenever someone is interacting with the GCP services, okay, they are actually using some kind of a infrastructure from the Google. So Google's infrastructure is divided all over the world via concept of GCP locations. Okay, why, sir? Whenever you wanted to do something, you need some kind of infrastructure. If you don't have an infrastructure, you can't run your application, you can't store some data, you can't manage your hardware, servers, all of those things. If you, what is mean infrastructure? Infrastructure can be a hardware, infrastructure can be a server, infrastructure can be a networking components, infrastructure can be a storage elements, infrastructure can be a memory and all of those things. So all these things I'm calling as a infrastructure. So if you wanted to locally create one application on all of those things, you are taking your physical laptop, a laptop you are considering as your infrastructure, and you are installing some application on top of it. Likewise, in the companies, tomorrow if I wanted to run some application or create some cluster or run some queries, I need Google's infrastructure. So, but from where is this Google infrastructure, sir? Google infrastructure is divided into multiple locations. Okay, Google's infrastructure is divided into multiple locations. Google has five locations. One is North America, one more is South America, Europe, Asia, Australia. Okay, Google has five locations, sir. All of the infrastructure that I was saying, so that whatever the infrastructure that I was saying, so all of the infrastructure that I was saying, yeah, hope you guys can hear me now. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Sorry, guys. So what I was saying is that Google has divided its infrastructure into these five locations. If I say Google has infrastructure, when I say infrastructure, you already know it could be a server, it could be a hardware, it could be some other CPU memories, or it could be a networking, it could be a storage. So whatever the infrastructure that the Google is having, that entire infrastructure is divided into these five locations. Okay, and these five locations have the Google's infrastructure. These five locations are further divided into concept of regions. So total Google have 37 regions until now, until today. And these regions are further divided into zones. Okay, like 112 zones are there. It's very similar to like this. For example, sir, think that Google's infrastructure is a India. Or one bank. Assume that one SBI bank. Okay, SBI bank is there in all over the India. You can think of like 30 plus states. Okay, so that is, you can think of as states is like location, and in each city you have a SBI bank, again that you can call it as a region. In each city you will be having some kind of a mandals or villages, right? So something like you can think of a some location, or I can just say village for now. Okay, so in each village you will be having SBI. Okay, what is this one? If I have to say where is actually the SBI bank situated, it is in this all over the world, all over the India. You have 30 states. In each city we will be having SBI. In each village we will be having SBI. That means in each village you will be having some SBI bank. Okay, so villages are the ones actually holding the bank, but city and states and all of these concept is mainly for what purpose, sir? Organizing purpose. Okay, properly organizing. Okay, for proper organization. But where is actually the bank situated? In village. Likewise, Google has its own infrastructure which is divided into among all of these 5 locations. These 5 locations are further divided into regions. These regions are further divided into zones. These zones are actually called as availability zones because there is a reason for that. Availability region, because there is a region for that, because the zones are the ones holding that infrastructure. Zones are the ones holding that infrastructure, that is called as a data center. Okay, each data center will have infrastructure that can be a physical infrastructure or that can be a virtual infrastructure, physical resources or virtual resources. So that is the reason zones are called as a availability region. So why we need locations and regions are only for your organizing purpose. Okay, so where are the zones inside? So for example, if you go to India, we have Delhi is a one of the region, Mumbai is a one of the region. Inside Mumbai, 3 locations we have, 3 places we have where 3 data centers are there. One data center in one some location, one some zone. Second is one more data center. Third is each data center. So each region will have its data center. So in Mumbai we have 3 data centers available from Google. Likewise in Delhi also we have. So what is this Delhi? What is this Mumbai? So all these things are regions. So 37 regions are there. So all of these regions are 37 will be. Out of those from India, we have 2 regions. One is Delhi and Mumbai. Okay, so this is how it is. So Google's infrastructure is divided into locations and further divided into regions and further divided into zones. Zones are called as a availability zones for a reason because actual data center, actual infrastructure is situated in that particular zone only. Okay, so that is what it is. So when I say what is data center, sir, some people may ask you. So data center is nothing but an infrastructure where the infrastructure is holding. Okay, as per the Google, the data center is nothing but a where the actual physical resources as well as virtual resources are situated. Okay, physical resources plus virtual resources are situated in data center. Each zone will have one data center. So that's the reason zones are called as availability zones. But now I will tell you why, sir, why they have to divide it like this. Why they have to divide it this much? Because they can just keep in there some wherever they are situating. For example, North America, if a Google cloud platform was developed there in North America, they can actually keep entire resources there only. But why they are actually dividing into this many locations, this many regions, this many zones? I will tell you that concept now. Okay, assume that, sir, you are in a one of the organization. In one of the organization, you are working in a project. That project has some kind of a requirement. For that requirement, you need to create one application. Okay, that application code you have prepared. Okay, code you have prepared and you have to deploy it. Now this application is majorly used in India. Here the application will be majorly used. This is India. Indian people are majorly using that application. Now I will tell you one thing. If this application is, for example, assume that this is your North America, and if you here we have a data center. If you deploy your code here, what happened? I will tell you. If you deploy your code here, what will happen is that, so the application will be available in this particular data center, but the users are there in India. If the user from India, if they wanted to use it, they have to connect it to your application all the way from India to this particular data center, all the way from India to this particular data center. Then they will be able to access your application. Okay, so what is problem here, sir, is that so there will be a network latency. When there is some latency, people don't want to use your application. Okay, so what is the problem here? So whenever if I put entire my resources instead of having 5 locations, I select only one location. I keep entire infrastructure here only. And if anyone wanted to deploy their applications, they are only deploying in this one only. What is the problem here is that whenever someone is accessing your application from this one or from this one, there will be a network latency is very high. That is the reason the users don't use your application. That is the reason that you don't get your business proper. Okay, your business will not be continued further. So that is the reason Google come up with a locations concept. Instead of deploying your application in these locations, you deploy your application wherever the target customers are situated. For example, if you think that your application is used maybe mainly by the Indian, so that's the reason they created a one region inside India also. In Indian data centers only you deploy your application. In Indian data centers only you deploy your application. That's where your Indian people are using your using your application. So they will be able to directly connect it to it because the network latency is very less now. So that is the reason the concept of GCP's locations are further divided into regions or zones is mainly to make your application highly available, performant enough, and resilient. Okay, so that is the main intention. And one more is also there, that is we will see compatibility issues also. We will see, and I will tell you how this PUBG, why it was banned earlier and why it was again running in India. So all of those things are a compatibility issues. We will see those things. Okay, now the concept you got it right, why they have to create this many locations, create this many regions, create this many zones. It's locations, regions, and zones are mainly for your organizing purpose, so that your application is highly available or your resources are highly available. Your performance will be high, the network latency will be very less, the user experience will be very high whenever they are deploying their applications in the Google Cloud platform. So for that reason only, there is a concept of GCP locations. Otherwise, instead of renting the data centers in India, they can just keep their entire data centers in some jungle, and they can able to run it from there. Okay, so that is what it is. Okay, so this is a concept of GCP locations, sir. I am going to talk about what is a region and what is a zone maybe tomorrow. Okay, if you think that this is how it is, guys. So for example, we have 5 locations. Take one of the location. Assume that one of the location, that is location A. In each location we will be having regions. Okay, region 1, region 2, region plus there can be many regions, and each region will be having zones. Okay, zone A, zone B, zone C. Minimum 3 zones will be there, sir. Each region will have minimum 3 zones. Each zone will are connected together via high bandwidth network. Each zone is connected via high bandwidth network. And each zone is a availability zone because each zone will have its own resources. Physical resources it will have, virtual resources it will have. Resources are nothing but infrastructure. Infrastructure nothing but a you can think of like storage, networking, all of those things. Okay, so that is what it is, a concept of GCP locations. This is how it is, and we're gonna be seeing what is actually the region, what is zone, and we will see what is the importance while you are deploying your application, how you have to deploy your application by selecting a proper region and zone. So you have to go for these 3 things. We will learning in these 3 things maybe tomorrow. Okay, so this is a concept of GCP regions and GCP locations. We will further learn maybe on the next day, and I'm stopping here the session for today here. Okay, if anyone have any questions related to it, we will see, and GCP locations we will further continue on our next classes. Okay, so this is a concept of GCP location. I just want you guys to understand that why the need of GCP locations. If you understand it, why they have created this many locations and this one, if you understand that concept, that's more than enough. And you still understand that when you are learning about regions and zones properly, and while your selection criteria, then you will be able to fully understand, okay, this is the GCP locations. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for the session today. If anyone have any questions, you can ask.
This session mainly will go through
Yes,
like
yes. Wait a
data
minute.
engineering.
What we will do is that raise your hand if you guys have any questions. Raise your hand. I will. We will do it one by one. Okay. Yeah. Rohan Mehta. Yes, Rohan. Okay. Okay. No, no, no. We have not discussed anything in the yesterday's and the day before yesterday's class. Actually, if you attend today's class, you will be able to understand it. Yesterday's class, the first class was related to the course content, what we were discussing. Okay, you can look at your. So this is those people who have joined the class today. Okay, the first demo class was related to the course content and what is the Google Cloud Platform. Next question, next thing also, why cloud and what is GCP again. And today's session is important. From today only, we are going to start. So we have started interfaces, interface methods, and locations. Okay, so this is the high level topics that we have discussed so far in our three demo sessions. Course content, mainly we discussed about course content here, and here why we need a cloud and why what is a Google Cloud Platform. The final in our this today's class we have discussed interface methods and GCP locations. Okay, and if you wanted to just see it, you can actually go and watch the demo videos, and each team will they will be providing, you can connect with our team, they will be helping on these things. But today's class is very important. Yeah. So you can look at the course content. If you can ask our team members, or sorry, admin, they will help you with the course content. So you can get a PDF. So there you will be able to see. So we are going to cover all the big data tools, guys. This is a data engineering. If I have to say all the big data tools covered here. Okay, whatever the data engineering tool is there, we are going to cover in our sessions. Of course, of course, of course, of course. Yes. Yeah, all of those projects are also listed out there. So end-to-end project will be there. If you have a source, if you wanted to process it, all the storing. So you have a source, you wanted to store it, you wanted to transform it, you wanted to process it, you wanted to analyze it, you wanted to send it to the destination. All of these things we are going to cover. End-to-end projects are fine. Yes. So we are covering PySpark, Apache Beam, DAGs, and SQL. Streaming are not covered here, only batch data processing we are doing mainly. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I think this is for all of those people, guys. Yeah. Yeah, every day at 7:30 to 8:30, guys. So the classes will be from maybe from Monday. I think next class is on Monday, 7:30 to 8:30. There won't be any changes in the timings. So this is the timing sessions, 7:30 to 8:30, and every day Monday to Friday. Yeah. Great. Yes, I think anyone have any questions? If you guys have any questions, you can ping in the chat, or you can also mention or raise your hand, guys. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you this one. So some people were asking again the duration. I'm gonna tell you here. Maybe I will pull up my. Do I have here? No, I do not have. Yes, yes. Okay, let me pull up one of the chart which actually shows all the information related to the course. So yeah, if anyone have any questions related to the topics, you can ask. Yeah, here is the course details, guys. So it's gonna take 40 days, and this is how it is. Hope you will be able to see it here. The timings are not mentioned here. The timings are this one. 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. IST. Okay, it is an Indian Standard Time. And 40 days, the session duration, it could be like close to 2 months. And daily 1 hour, Monday to Friday, online live sessions. You have here all the information. It's like projects covered, case studies, scenarios, assignments, comprehensive material. I will be sharing your resume, assistance, interview questions, everything will be shared. Okay, yeah. Anyone have any other questions? Yes, 40 days means 40 hours, guys. Okay, 40 days means not 40 days, it is 40 hours. That means it could be like less than 2 months. It's not, yes, the assignments, okay, assignments I will give it to you for your practice purpose. Yes, correct. And I will give you the answer to that as well later, but you can actually practice it for like 4 or 5 days. After that, I will send you the answers. Yes. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. So I think we're good. Go for registrations, guys, if you wanted to continue further for the classes. And it's going to be very good if you wanted to start your career as a GCP data engineer. It gives you a very good understanding from the very start, from the basics to the advanced. And go for the registrations. We will meet on the Monday at 7:30 same time. Okay. I think until then, bye bye, and have a great day. Have a great weekend. Okay. Thank you all.